funding to the Beef Roads Corridor, an industry that earns this country in excess of $1.7 billion. That is the lifeblood of central Queensland. These roads are key arterials between producers and ports and markets. They are also critical, the upgrades are critical for the safety of our truckies that do the transportation of that cattle. You don't need to drive very, very far out of a capital city these days to find our roads in critical disrepair. This was a promise made by the former Minister in this area, Barnaby Joyce. It is one that we support as a coalition because we will always have the back of our wealth-creating industries in rural and regional Australia. Our road fatality data is going in the wrong direction, and we need to pressure the Anthony Albanese government to put this money back in the forward estimates to get these roads built for our productivity in beef industry, but also for the safety of our road transport industry. Michelle?
Well, once again, we see federal Labor just leading regional Australia dry. And, time after time, they are cutting money from projects. This funding from the Beef Roads Corridors, $400 million, was over 457 kilometres of roads. And these roads are in disrepair. And it's not just cattle producers, it's mum and dads, it's miners, it's safety workers that all travel these roads. And this just goes on and on. They tear the money out, they say, oh, well, it's still in the budget, but it's not even in the forwards, it's in the Never Never plan. It's like the Rocky Ring Road story all over again. And we just want to say that we will continue to fight for this. They know that we can do it. The Rocky Ring Road, we had people down here who were outside state parliament, outside federal parliament, and once again the people in the bush get left behind. The wealth of the nation, from the cattle, from the agriculture, from the coal mining, all comes from central Queensland, and once again we've been kicked in the guts by the Albanese government.
So this is once again another Labor Party backflip on a commitment that they made at the last election cycle when they wanted to win the seat of Flint in central Queensland. Again, we're seeing the Labor government biting the hand that feeds the mining and resource sector, the agricultural sector, the farming community, that all need these roads as their arterial routes to the east coast to feed Australia. Central Queensland is the economic engine room of Australia, and the Labor Party government has pushed this funding out some $400 million to the 28 financial year. There is absolutely no guarantee that they will honour this commitment. It is that far out in the forward estimates. And I would suggest that you won't see any improvement to those roads until 2030 or more. Once again, we're seeing the Labor Party government go back on a commitment that they made at the last election to seal these roads that are very important to central Queensland.
Well, this is another broken promise. We have a Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese, who's broken promises on taxes, he's broken promises on energy, and now he's breaking promises on roads. At the last election, the Labor Party promised $400 million to build these roads, to seal over 450 kilometres of roads, upon which our beef producers, our miners, the wealth producers of this country have to take their lives in their own hands every time they drive on them. I know I talk to families who worry about their loved ones coming home on these roads every night. And now, thanks to this decision, there's going to be another 2,000 odd nights of those families worrying about the safety of their loved ones who are just out there working for our country, producing wealth for our nation. So this is an absolute disgrace from this government. I also think the worst thing about it is that no one from this government has actually taken the effort to go up to central Queensland, talk to the local councils, talk to the local people who have been fighting for these roads for years. At Senate estimates this week, where this was revealed, we only found this out through the Senate estimates going through the figures with the department. At Senate estimates it was revealed that no one, not a minister, not a department official, had actually gone to central Queensland to inspect these roads and talk to the people who are being impacted by this decision. That's not how government should be run here. It shouldn't be the job of people across Australia have to come here to get their voice heard. It should be the job of Canberra to listen and go out and listen to the people, and that's not happening under this government, because I think it's really important to underline and underscore that this Beef Corridors program, which we both supported at the last election, actually wasn't the idea of the LNP. It wasn't the idea of the Labor Party. It was the idea of local people who are sick and tired of driving on these death traps. It came from people like Matthew Payne from the Upper Nagoa Community Group. It came from Lenise Cronigan from the Clark Creek Reference Community Group, and then it came from the 7 councils who presented this to Beef Week 2021 a few years ago. We're about to have a Beef Week in a few months' time again in Rockhampton. I'm sure there'll be a lot of these politicians coming up in their big hats wanting their Instagram photos next to some cattle. Well, I think the beef industry will have a massive message for them about how come they're trying to sidle up to an industry to boost their own profile, but they won't back it by breaking this promise on better roads for our beef sector.